It's just past 11 in the morning here, and I'm still in Greece like I was yesterday. And I checked, and this is country number 16 of the trip. So, Turkey will be 17, and I should be there in about a week and a half or so. But yesterday, what happened yesterday? So, because I was wild camping, I ended up starting really, really early, maybe the earliest day of the whole trip. Actually, I was packed up and ready to go by, I think about 6:30. So previously my record was 7, so yeah, about half an hour earlier than that. So that's the new record to beat, 6:30. And I was on the road, and basically the sun was just rising as I was winding my way down to the Greek border in Istanbul, and quite a special moment as the sun was rising, and I could just see down into the valley, and there was shepherds with their flocks of sheep and goats. You could just hear the bells like clanging from the valley. But there wasn't really anyone else around, which was really nice, and it was nice and cool. And I had this plan of stopping and getting an espresso somewhere, maybe some breakfast, before I went over to Greece. And I kept passing through little towns, but they were so small they didn't even have a cafe. And so there was a small town coming up, and it was a little bit off route. But it was my last chance before getting to the border, basically. So I made a bit of a detour into this town, and shortly as I was riding, I encountered a man who was like just starting his day, and he was walking on the road, and he was very confused as to why I was there. And he didn't speak English, but he was like asking where I was going, and I told him Konaspol, and he's like, "Oh no, you have to go back that way. This is the wrong road." And I understood, but I wanted to go to the town to get a coffee, rather. And turns out he was actually Greek, so he was the first Greek man I've met, and that was in Albania, so that was kind of cool. I did start to see Greek flags the closer I got to the Greek border in Albania, which was kind of interesting as well. But yeah, I kind of shook hands with this Greek Albanian man. He was a bit confused still, but happy to see me passing through his village. And then the track took a very different turn, and I got way more than I bargained for, because I turned around the corner and it was basically like steep, rocky, single track going up through the village. There's no cafe in sight, so I basically had to push through all this rough single track for no reason at 7 in the morning with an empty stomach and no coffee. It was pretty tough, way more than I bargained for. And as I was like pushing through the single track, then like a pack of dogs came out from all the houses, and they were like snarling and barking at me. And I was just like, what have I done? Like, this was a massive mistake trying to go through this town, and I was not ready for it. But yeah, anyway, I eventually got back to the highway. What should have taken me 5 minutes or even less on the highway took me about 20 minutes going through this little town, which I achieved absolutely nothing. So that was a bit demoralizing, but I kept going, and then soon after I did find a cafe, and I stopped there, and the owner was really nice, and she didn't speak English either, but she got recruited a young guy to translate for her. I'm not sure if it was her son or if just a young local guy who was hanging out. That seems to be pretty common from what I've encountered. And I was able to rejuvenate a bit there before continuing, and then as I was getting closer and closer to the border, my steering started shuddering, and I realized I got another flat tire. So I pulled over and started to fix the flat, I couldn't see any thorns or anything, so I'm not sure what happened. I guess it was maybe a pinch flat because I found the hole pretty quickly in the tube, but I couldn't find anything that had caused it, and the tyre looked fine. So I started repairing that, and then a small boy pulled up alongside me, and he was wondering what I was doing, and he saw that I had a flat tyre. Morning. And so I was fixing that, and then the boy was trying to help me as well, and he was kind of helping, but kind of just being a nuisance as well. And so I was trying to show him how to fix the tyre, but he also wasn't really helping. And then he asked me about 100 times if he could have my patch repair kit, and I kept telling him no, I needed it, and he kept asking for it, and I had to try pretty hard not to get frustrated at him, because he just kept asking, and I just kept saying no, I need it. Anyway, in the end, I gave him a bit of money, and to say thanks for helping me fix the tube. I did fix it, and then we said farewell. His name was Valentino, so thanks, Valentino. And then I was off again towards the border, and I found a little corner store close to the border, and was able to spend about half of the money I had left in Lek. So the rest I'll have to get exchanged for euros or something, but that's fine. And then eventually I got to the border, and there was a short line up, so lined up through that to get through the Albanian side, and then I got to the Greek side, and there was nothing, and there was a couple of empty offices. There was no line at all, and some people were just going straight through without even talking to anyone. But I did want to check how many days I had left on my Schengen visa, and get a stamp from the Greek people to say that I had actually re-entered into Schengen. And so I talked to the customs officer, and he was about to wave me through, and then I asked him, how many days do I have left? Can you tell me? And he was like, that's an interesting question. And then he looked at my my entry stamp into Amsterdam on the 5th of July, and he was like, well, actually, you don't have any permission to enter because your visa is expired. And I said, oh, that can't be right, because I've spent the last 2 weeks outside of the Schengen zone, so I think I still have about 2 weeks left. And he's like, and he looked again, and he's like, no, you don't have permission to enter, you can't come in. And this was a little bit stressful at the time, because if he didn't let me in, it would have fucked up everything basically. But I was pretty sure I could still go in, and so I told him that I had left the Schengen zone around the 16th of September when I went into Montenegro. He looked something up in the system or found the stamp or whatever, but eventually he's like, oh, okay, actually, yeah, you have 13 days left. And I said, okay, yeah, that's how much I thought I had left, thanks for that. And then the guy next to him had a look, and he's like, oh, actually, no, you've only spent 75 days in Schengen, so you actually have 15 days left. And then the guy that I'd been talking to originally was like, oh yeah, that's right, you have 13 days left. No, sorry, 11 days left. And I was like, okay. So I think I'm just going to go with 13, and I should be out of here before then anyway, so it shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, they really weren't very helpful. And just as I was leaving, they were like, make sure you don't go over your days, get out in time. They said it in a way that almost sounded like a threat, which wasn't very nice, but I'm not sure what's going to happen if I do go over it, but I don't plan to anyway, so it shouldn't be a problem. But anyway, I got through the border eventually, and then I was in a new country, and that's kind of cool. It looked fairly similar to Albania initially. There was more mountains and still very dry, and beautiful crystal clear water, like I have in front of me right now, which is where I've been camping last night and went for a swim yesterday and also this morning, which has been really nice. And yeah, basically I went into the town, rode another 20 k's or so, got a gyros with no meat, which was just what do you call, like a wrap with some salad and some chips, which is, not terrible, but it wasn't great, but cheap anyway. And then yeah, I didn't really feel like going much further than that, to be honest. I felt like I'd had enough, and I wasn't in a super rush. It's about 600 k's from here to Athens, so given I've got about a week and a half to get there, should be plenty of time, and then should be enough time to also vote at the consulate or the embassy for the referendum. So that's kind of the goal. At some point I'll have to figure out my visa for Turkey and my ferry ticket for Turkey, but that shouldn't be a problem. I've had a look at that already. And yeah, one thing that's been going through my mind the last 12 hours or so, I was talking to my friend, my good friend Amanda yesterday, just on text, and I've been telling her that I've been feeling a bit lonely throughout the trip, and she said something which I think is very true. She said being alone is, what did she say? Being alone is good for a while, but then it just gets sad. And I think that's very true, and that's something I'm reflecting on over the next couple of weeks as I try to decide, should I continue this trip or should I try and find somewhere to settle for a while. And I think it's going to be the latter, but every day I keep thinking, it would be pretty awesome just to keep cycling around the world. When am I going to have this chance again? But I think it would be better to do it with someone else. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to continue today. I'm not sure how far I'll get. It's yeah, I realized kind of yesterday that I actually can't remember the last time I took a rest day. It's been probably at least 2 weeks. So I'll have a short one today and see where I'll end up. But yeah, not planning going too far. So that's it. Bye.